In this video, I am coloring, chatting, and coloring. Someone commented under my flip through of this book and they said, "Yay, a color along." Hey. Welcome back to Evelyn Colors. In my last video, I shared a flip through of the Mythographic Artist Archive, and today we are starting one of the pages together. These are the mediums that I am using to color my page. First up, I have the Zig Clean Color Real Brush marker. I will use these real brush markers to base the page, or is it called underpaint? You know what I'm talking about. Secondly, I have a colored pencil and I am using the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And thirdly, I have the Stabilo CarbOthello pastel pencils. With every color that I use, I will put it on the screen as well as list everything in the description box. This is the page that we are coloring today. It is actually the first page in the book. Before I start coloring a mythographic page, I usually take a good look at it. And I'm going to break this page down. And here's how I am going to do it. First of all, the focal point of this page, I'm going to start coloring this first, which is the whale. The whale has some grass and mushrooms on it as well. And I will color those elements on the whale. After I finish with the whale, I will then move up to the top here and I will start coloring the water lilies. There are water lilies at the top here, and there are also water lilies down here at the bottom of the illustration. After I finish the water lilies, I'm going to go to the third area, which are the flowers. This is a bud, but we have flowers here. Here. And I will color those. That's number 3. Number 4, there are leaves here down at the bottom of the illustration, and I will color those. Number 5, I will color the crystals here. They are at the bottom. Number 6, I will color the background or the water. And the last thing that I will do is to come in with some gel pen. I did not show you the gel pen, but I will come in with some gel pen to finish it up. And that's how I am approaching this page. I'm not trying to color everything. I color similar elements together and then I take a break and I come back and I color other similar elements. I have shared with you how I am approaching this page. I'm taking my time with this page, coloring sections by sections. Also, here's something you should know. This video is sped up. If I had not sped it up, it would easily be a 2 to 3 hour video. And I don't like uploading videos that are that long. And I'm sure you can appreciate that as well. If you color in books like this, then you already know these pages can be so beautiful, but they can also feel a little overwhelming at first. There is just so much to look at, so many tiny details, so many little decisions to make. And I know sometimes that can make you feel like you need to rush or figure it all out at once, or somehow make the page come together perfectly right away. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to rush. You do not have to figure out everything all at once. Just take your time and focus on certain elements on the page, and you will be amazed by how it turns out and how you move along in the process of coloring the page. But honestly, rushing through the page is not how I approach these pages at all. When I sit down with a detailed page like this, or even a more detailed page than this one, My goal is not to finish quickly. My goal is to really enjoy the process, take my time, and let the page reveal itself little by little. And that's what you'll see in this video. You'll see how it comes together little by little. I thought that it would be pretty cool to see that in action in video, and that's why I decided to go ahead and complete the whole page in video format. So that's what I want to chat about today while we color together. If that sounds like your kind of coloring time, go ahead and settle in, grab your pencils or markers or gel pens, and let's color together. In this video, you will notice some pink strips of paper. On these pink strips of paper are the colors of what I'm using. So you see light blue. This is the color light blue from the Kuretake Real Brush, and right now it's the pencil. This is Stabilo blue from Faber-Castell, and it is the number 110 pencil. Okay, just so you know, that's what's going on with the pink strips of paper. The very first thing I do when I open a page like this is pause and look at it for a minute. I do not rush straight into coloring. I like to study the page a little bit first and just let my eyes move around naturally. I look for what stands out to me, what parts feel like the focal point, and what details I may want to keep softer in the background. For me, the little pause is really helpful because it keeps me from feeling scattered or overwhelmed. When a page is very detailed, and you know there are more detailed pages in this book, this is not as detailed as others, just so you know. I think one of the easiest ways to get overwhelmed is to feel like you have to make every decision immediately. But I've learned that I really don't need to know everything before I begin. I just need one starting point. That's it. Just one place to begin. Sometimes it's the largest object on the page. Sometimes it's a face, a flower, a frame, a bird, or something in the center. Sometimes it's just the part I'm most excited to color. And once I choose that starting point, I let myself stay there for a while. One thing that really helps me with detailed pages is that I stop looking at the page as one giant project. Instead, I try to see it as a collection of tiny moments. Not the whole page, not everything at once, just this whale. Then it will be just the mushrooms and the blades of grass that are sitting on top of the whale. The water lilies, the flowers. That shift helps me so much because when I think I need to finish this whole detailed page, it can start to feel heavy. But when I think, let me just color this one section beautifully and calmly, it feels doable. It feels peaceful. And a lot of times, that's really how these pages come together, one small area at a time. I think detailed coloring pages really teach patience in that way. They remind me that beautiful things do not always happen quickly. Sometimes they come together slowly, layer by layer, choice by choice, color by color. When I am coloring a page like this, I also try not to pressure myself too much with color choices. I know sometimes when a page is very intricate, it can feel like every color decision matters so much. And yes, color choices do matter. But I also think we can put too much pressure on ourselves to pick the perfect palette. What I usually do is start with a small group of colors instead of pulling out everything. That helps me stay grounded. While I was coloring the whale, when I first started coloring and adding the pencil in, I noticed that the pencil color that I was using was not working for me. So I got a few different colors. I changed up. I was not boxed into the colors that I had initially selected. If I have too many options in front of me, I can spend more time overthinking than coloring. So I like to keep it simple at first. Maybe a few main shades, a few supporting tones, and then if I want to add more later, I can. And that's what I did with this whale. I had a few blues I had selected, but then I realized that I did not like what I was coming up with. So I had to switch out the colors that I thought would work for the ones that work for me. I think that's important when it comes to coloring detailed pages, that we let the page develop naturally. Sometimes the colors I thought I wanted at the beginning, as I was talking about the blues, are not the colors I end up loving most by the middle of the page. And that's okay. I don't think coloring always has to be rigid. Sometimes it's better when it evolves. So don't worry about trying to pick the perfect palette and perfect colors. Just grab a few and roll with those, and then you can change if you see you need to change. One of the biggest things that I have learned with detailed pages is that slowness is not a bad thing. Taking a long time on a page does not mean you are behind. It does not mean you are decisive. It does not mean you are doing too much. Sometimes it simply means you are being present. And that's something I really appreciate about coloring. There is so much in life that feels rushed, so much that feels loud, urgent, and demanding. But coloring gives me a space where I can slow down and say, no, I'm going to sit here with this one little part of the page and I'm going to enjoy it. That is such a gift, especially with a book like Mythographic Artist Archive or any mythographic book or any coloring book that's details. I think taking your time is actually part of the beauty of it all. You start to see things you would have missed if you rushed. You notice patterns. You notice shapes tucked inside other shapes. You notice how one little area can influence the whole mood of the page. I noticed something on this page, but I didn't see it right away. It didn't become noticeable to me until I started coloring. You'll see what I'm talking about, but it's up by the flowers. There is a gem up there, or a crystal, and I didn't notice it at first. I didn't notice it until I started coloring. How about that? And I love how one little area can just influence the whole mood of the page. I really love that. I really, really do. When I get to the really tiny details, I try to remind myself that not every detail has to scream for attention. That is something I've learned over time. When a page is packed with detail, sometimes the best thing you can do is vary your intensity. Some areas can be bright and rich and full of contrast, and other areas can be softer, lighter, or simpler. I think that balance helps the page breathe. So when I'm coloring tiny details, I ask myself, do I want this part to stand out? Or do I want it to support what's around it? That question helps me decide whether to go bold, stay soft, add shading, or just keep it simple. Because on a detailed page, if everything is treated exactly the same, the eye doesn't really know where to rest. So I like to create little moments of emphasis and little moments of calm. That makes the page feel more intentional to me. I also think there's something really comforting about giving yourself permission to have a page in progress. You do not have to finish it today. You do not have to make huge progress every time you sit down. You do not have to earn your rest by completing the page. Sometimes your coloring session is just for enjoying 20 minutes on one corner of a page, and that still counts. I think we need that reminder sometimes because it's so easy to turn hobbies into little performance spaces where we feel like we should always be producing, finishing, and showing results. But coloring does not have to be that. Sometimes coloring is just, I showed up. I picked a few colors. I filled in a few details. I felt calmer when I was done than when I started. That is enough. One thing I really enjoy about detailed pages is that they keep pulling me back in. There's always something else to notice. There's always another tiny section to bring to life. There's always another chance to add depth, softness, contrast, or sparkle. Detailed pages feel very immersive to me. They ask for attention in a gentle way. And when I'm in the mood for that, it feels so satisfying. Not every coloring session has to be on a highly detailed page, of course. Sometimes I want something easier and more open and less intense. But when I do sit down with a detailed page, I try to honor what that page needs from me, and usually what it needs is patience, not speed, not pressure, just patience. If you are coloring along with me and you are someone who sometimes feels intimidated by detailed pages, I just want to say you really do not have to master the whole page at once. Start small. Choose one area. Pick a few colors. Let yourself respond to the page as you go. And Don't be afraid to keep things simple. You do not have to use every technique. You do not have to shade every inch. You do not have to make every section elaborate. Sometimes a calm, steady approach creates the most beautiful result. And truly, the more you spend time with detailed pages, the more your own rhythm starts to emerge. You start learning when to go bold, when to stay soft, when to layer more, when to stop, when to rest your eyes, when to move to another section. That rhythm is personal. And I think that's one of the nicest parts of coloring. You get to discover what works for you. You know, I think this is one reason coloring can feel so soothing emotionally too, because taking your time with a detailed page can remind you that not everything has to be rushed in order to be worthwhile. There is value in going slowly. There is value in being careful. There is value in paying attention. And I think sometimes we need spaces in our lives where we are allowed to move at a gentler pace. For me, coloring can be that space. It's one of the few times when I can just settle in, focus on something quiet, and let my mind breathe a little. Even if life feels busy, even if there's a lot going on, this kind of coloring helps me come back to myself, especially with pages like this, where I know from the beginning that it's not going to be a quick finish. I almost feel invited to slow down mentally too. And honestly, I love that so much. As I'm working through this page, I'm really just paying attention to a few things. I'm noticing where I want contrast. I'm noticing where I want softness. I'm deciding what deserves a little more layering and what can stay simple. And I'm trying not to jump all over the page too much, which is why I work in little sections. I like to stay in one area long enough for it to start making sense. That helps me build confidence as I go, because once one section starts coming together, the next section feels easier, then the next, then the next. And before long, the page that looked so intimidating at first starts to feel manageable. That is such a satisfying moment. I think that's another reason I enjoy detailed pages. They often begin with uncertainty, but if you stay with them, they reward your patience. You have seen how I approach coloring a detailed page in Mythographic Artist Archive, but do know this is how I approach coloring any detailed book in any mythographic coloring book, as well as in any coloring book that has detailed pages. I take my time. I start small. I try not to overthink every choice, and I let the page come together gradually. I really believe detailed pages are meant to be enjoyed slowly. At least for me, that's when they feel the most relaxing and the most rewarding. If you are someone who loves detailed pages, I'd love to know how you approach them. Do you plan your colors ahead of time, or do you just go section by section and let it happen naturally? And if detailed pages overwhelm you sometimes, I hope this video encourages you to slow down, start small, and trust your process a little bit more. Thank you so much for coloring with me today. I hope this gave you a little calm, a little inspiration, and maybe, just maybe, permission to take your time. Here is the finished page. What do you think? I think it turned out quite lovely. Quite lovely. I used my white gel pen and my gold gel pen. I will show you those pens. Let me put this picture down. First is the white gel pen. I used the Brush Arts, I guess that's how you say it. Highlight pen 1.0 white gel pen on the little white dots or bubbles. And for the little gold splashes, I used my Uniball Signal Gold. This is the skinty pen, not the fat pen. Okay? Those are the only two gel pens that I used on this illustration. My final message to you is that when you feel like you need to slow down, and even this is a message to myself as well, I tend to grab a more intricate book. a more time involved book. And I just started coloring little by little, bit by bit. And over time, I finished the page. And it may have taken me time to finish the page, but the point of the matter is that I completed the page. And it gave me a chance to just slow down. Sometimes a page is not meant to be finished quickly. Sometimes a page just takes time, okay? And that's what this page took me time. And I am so proud of the results. If you have any questions or any comments or anything that you'd like to share with me, feel free to drop your comment down below this video. Until next time, keep calm and keep coloring. Bye.